Welcome back to episode 11 of From Root to Crown with Rebe. I am so excited to nerd out about crystals today. If you are just now coming into my world and have found me through the podcast, you might not know that for the last 3 years, almost four, I have been running a online crystal boutique. And I love crystals. Crystals have always been one of my big passions, and it's going to be actually easier than you might think to have a podcast about crystals. I get so many questions when I go to vendor markets and set up my little pop-up shop, and there are ones that I get on repeat. So I thought we would cover some of the basics of using crystals and the main questions that I get. And if you are interested and have more questions, then I'm going to have you send them to me and we can schedule a part two for season two, because we are coming to the end of the first season here of the podcast. I'm going to take a break over the summer when my kids are off school, come back fresh. I'm already about 75% through the planning process for next year. Really excited about next season. The second season will come back in the fall. So let's start talking about crystals. The biggest thing that I want you to hear me on, and if you've listened to any of my other podcasts, this is a theme that's pervasive throughout all of my work and how I look at any of these topics, is that you cannot screw this up. Let me say it again. You cannot screw this up. So I want you to take a big deep breath in, let it all out. So relax. You can't screw this up. Whichever crystals are snagging your eye that you keep coming back to, they're the right ones for you. Your intuition knows way more, and your energy is already picking up on things that your rational mind doesn't even know. And also, it's okay to just pick a specific crystal because it's pretty or because it matches your shirt that day, your outfit. It's okay to just enjoy them because they are beautiful, let alone the properties. So let's dive into the world of crystals with that sense of confidence and play. Everybody's going to have different reactions and different associations to crystals, to a specific crystal. So if I mention a specific crystal and say it's really great for grounding or feeling confident or whatever it is, and that crystal doesn't do it for you, but another crystal does, trust yourself, please. So crystals have been used for millennia in every single culture, whether we're talking Canadian, whether we're talking the native peoples in Asia and Africa. Across the world, crystals have been used by all of these ancient cultures. So there is wisdom that we can tap into that served our ancestors, right? The first instance of a crystal grid is actually documented in the Bible. So let me also rest your mind on the fact that crystals are not part of any one particular religion or going against your religion. They are included in all of them because there's value in them that these ancient peoples knew. So I just want you to know that a lot of the information that's floating around out there is based on this historical record and these historical associations of a particular crystal bringing a specific kind of energy when you work with it. I do want you, again, to come back to yourself as the ultimate source of truth. A lot of the, I won't say a lot, some of the modern descriptions of crystals is channeled information, meaning that it's a slight take on what maybe the historical record shows and is coming through a specific set of guides that a individual might work with. So I want you to channel your own knowledge and your own wisdom before you trust somebody else's. That being said, I will drop my favorite crystal encyclopedia, the link to that in the show notes here, because it is truly my Bible. It's the one that I have found to be the most accurate and resonates with the feelings I get from particular stones. So I will drop that link, like I said, in the show notes. So, when you are choosing a crystal, the biggest question that I get in, at these vendor fairs or just working with clients one on one is really about how do I choose the right one? And so, again, I will point you back to yourself as your greatest source of truth, which is the one that is calling your attention, that's catching your eye, that you keep going back and back to. I had a client once that I was talking to, and she said, I don't know anything about crystals, but I have an amethyst and I have a carnelian and I don't remember, maybe it was like lapis lazuli. It was a blue stone. I remember that much. And this particular woman was in marketing and ran her own marketing agency. And I said, okay, well, you know more than you think you do, because those are the stones that I would have chosen for you to start with. Carnelian for being bold, and the amethyst for protection, because you're in the online space, you're a business owner. So amethyst is a great one to start with. And then the blue stone, you're in marketing. Blue stones support your throat chakra. So those would be those are perfect stones for you to have in your collection and start your collection with. So trust yourself as you are perusing the crystals that are available. That said, if you are looking for help with a very specific thing and you are wanting something that you know is going to support that, I highly encourage you to take a look at like a book like I'm recommending here, or going online and seeing, okay, do most of the resources that I'm finding online suggest the same stones for this particular intention that I'm looking to work on? Then you can go from there and look at those individual stones, come back to your intuition for which one is the right one for you. The other thing that I really encourage people to think about before selecting their stones is, how do you want to work with them? Because the how drives the form that you're going to pick for your crystals. So if you are wanting something to fidget with, something to have in your hand, you are going to want something that's maybe a small tumble or a palm stone. Of course, I have them all over my desk here. I just picked one up so you can see it on either YouTube or the Spotify video play or video podcast. So you might want something small that fits in your palm. So a palm stone or a tumble, or a set of meditation beads that you can run through your fingers and repeat a mantra or an affirmation when working with them, or even just fidgeting with them. If you are wanting something with you constantly, then a small tumble that you can put in your pocket, or a bracelet that you can wear, or a necklace, some piece of jewelry. I wear crystal earrings a lot. Those things then keep it on your body so that it's with you and it's easily portable in those forms. If you are wanting to just call a specific energy into an area, Maybe you might pick a larger piece. You can see on the bookshelves behind me, I have all sorts of large crystals behind me that I work with all the time. And they just bring that vibe, that energy into my office space here. And really, I guess let me back up a second here. One of the big things that I want you to remember, besides you can't screw this up, is my overall philosophy of what crystals are. Are they magic? Well, yeah. In that magic is just working with energy, and we're all energy. And I'm made out of energy. My desk is made out of energy. It's energy that's allowing you to hear my voice right now without any cords. So, are they magic? Yes. Are they actually doing something for you? I believe that the true magic is in having something physical in your space or on your body that keeps you focused on the intention that you're associating with that stone. So it's really about keeping you focused on the inner work that you are doing. So let's use abundance and citrine as an example. If I want to call in more abundance in my life, I might choose a citrine bracelet to wear that I want abundance to follow me throughout my entire day. Is it the citrine that's actually doing it? Or is it the fact that every time I look at my watch, I'm seeing the citrine and remembering that I want to feel abundant today, that is allowing me to find moments of abundance in my day? Either way, it's working. Either way, it's kind of magic. So the true value is in keeping you focused on your intentions. I know we have all set an intention before your feet get, hit the floor, before you get out of bed. You're like, oh, today's going to be an awesome day. I'm not going to lose my crap with my kids, whatever it might be. And by the time breakfast is over, it's out the window. You've totally forgotten that you set intentions. You go through your day, you lose your crap with your kids, and you come back to the end of the day and you're like, I missed, because you didn't have something reminding you to come back to that alignment, that intention that you had set for yourself for that day. So I think the true value in crystals is reminding you constantly, consistently, I want to be a better communicator. I want more peace in my life. I want to feel grounded and not let my anxiety spiral and take my mind in 45 different directions. So, if we can look at crystals and work with crystals from that lens, I think that that does a lot for us. And also flows into that. You can't screw this up, because it's your association with that stone that makes the biggest difference. Another question I get quite often is around combinations of crystals, and if you can put different crystals together that cancel each other out, right? Let's say we want to feel grounded, but we also need energy to make things happen and get things done. Well, do those two things cancel each other out? And to that, I would point you back to last week's podcast, where we are creatures that can hold two opposite feelings at the same time. And so you might need support for those two different things at the same time, and can use different crystals to do that. And that's okay, because if we believe that they're magic, if we believe that it's energy and that the universe and this source energy is always working in our favor, even when it feels uncomfortable, then we have to believe that whatever the stones are that we select are not fighting with each other, but working in harmony and supporting different parts of our being. So I don't see that there's any issue with combining any different stones together because they're going to support the part of you that needs that support. Other questions that I get quite often are on recharging crystals. There are many different schools of thought in this. I tend to be more in the less is more, and it's not really as complicated as you think line of belief. So, yes, I have put my crystals out under a full moon to give them a boost of energy and to be cleansed. Yes, I have selenite in my office and around my home, and if I feel like I have had an altercation with someone and some energy might be attached to the piece of jewelry that I'm wearing or the stones that I had on during that, I will pull everything off and put them on a selenite plate overnight just to cleanse their energy. I'm talking like your diamond ring, your gold and silver jewelry, because it's all rare earth minerals and crystals. So treat your fine jewelry similarly to how you treat your crystals. I do think that you can feel the energy of your crystals that you're working with. And if you have had, like I said, an altercation or you've been using it quite a bit over a short period of time, giving it a chance to rest is a good idea, but you don't necessarily have to wait for a full moon to do so. Again, selenite is a great tool for this. You can also just use really loud sound. So whether you have a singing bowl or you put on some of the I don't know what the specific hertz are, but if you go to healing vibration or healing, tunes on Spotify, you'll be able to find different musical tracks that have a specific frequency for healing or support or what have you. Just play the music really, really loud through the crystal, next to the crystal. That will send the sound waves through the crystal and help it realign to its crystalline structure. But again, do I do this often? No, I really don't. And I use my crystals in my Reiki practice. I use crystals in my breathwork practice, and I use crystals in my personal practices. So not only with clients, but for myself, obviously. I might pull everything together and put it out under a full moon twice a year. I mean, I've got a lot of crystals, so it's a little bit more of an effort for me, but I don't feel like all of my pieces need that amount of maintenance. So people who say, oh, you have to do it every month, I don't know that I buy that. Maybe that works for them. Again, I want you to be your own source of truth, but I don't want you to fall into allowing this tool that is supposed to help you and support you to create more anxiety because you're creating a set of rules around them to keep yourself from using them, right? Which kind of leads me into the next one. Then my next point is it's okay if other people touch your crystals because I don't believe that they absorb bad energy from them. They're giving energy, right? Crystals are energy givers. And so if somebody walks in and picks up my clear quartz, they're just going to get the benefit from that. And I don't believe that it absorbs and the negative energy from that person and that negative energy then hangs around and can impact me. Some stones do absorb energy. That's their purpose. They work like a filter for the environment. They work like a vacuum for the environment. I have smoky quartzes at every entrance to my home. There's one just over here. This is the entrance to our garage. Back behind me, I have one in my china cabinet, which sits right by my front door. I have a huge one on, here in my office. Its job is to absorb negative energy and just like cleanse everybody's energy as they come into my house. I don't believe that that negative energy is going to impact me then. The quartz is doing its job. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So if somebody touches your crystals, you don't need to not work with them until you cleanse them, and cleanse them immediately and be overly particular about it. So don't worry about your crystals and don't let that stop you from using them. Remember, this is about play. This is about experimentation. This is about you enjoying and getting the benefit of a tool that the earth has provided for us. Along the same vein of caring for your crystals, one thing that I will recommend that you do is treat them like any of your other possessions. Dust them. Wipe them off every once in a while. Take care of them so that they can take care of you. If they're coated in a layer of dust, do you think that energy is shiny and vibrant? Probably not. So just care for them. Do not submerge them in water. Do not use harsh chemicals on them. They don't need to be cleaned. Just go through with a very, very, very slightly damp microfiber cloth. If it's a smooth polished stone, you can do that. If it's rough, just using a feather duster or a little bit of like one of those air cans that you use to clean out your keyboard or the little nooks and crannies of places, you could use that. But yeah, just care for them the way that you would anything else. Be really aware of what your crystals are made of and how hard they are, because again, some will dissolve in water. So I don't recommend wearing any crystal jewelry in the shower, to work out in, or even really to sleep. I think that allowing your energy time to refresh, allowing the crystal's energy time to refresh, it's all a good thing. And specifically with the jewelry, unless you know for certain that water is not going to impact it, you could really damage your jewelry that you spent your hard-earned money on. So I would not recommend doing that. The last question that I get a lot is on like what crystals I think everybody should start with. I actually, on my website, I will link to my shop's website in the show notes here. On my website, I actually had a bundle of small tumbles that is called my beginner's kit. And it has a black tourmaline, a crystal quartz, an amethyst, a rainbow fluorite, and a smoky quartz, I think, in it. Those are the ones that I recommend the most. Black tourmaline is protective and grounding, so it's going to keep your energy steady and bring you back to the present moment. A clear quartz is the master amplifier, so it is infinitely programmable, so you can set your own intentions with it, and it's going to amplify the work of the other stones around it. Think about quartz, what's in our phones, what's in our computers, what's in old school analog watches. Quartz, because it's infinitely programmable. It's what our memory chips are made out of in all of our electronics. So quartz, black tourmaline, amethyst is also a protective stone, and it's pretty. So a lot of people start with the purple amethyst. I recommend rainbow fluorite for just about everybody. It is the stone for focus, mental clarity, and strategic thinking. So this is my number one stone for students and anyone who has to do any sort of strategic work. I have a big sphere of it hidden here on my desk. But yeah, I have a big sphere that is always right now. Oh, I'm sorry. It's right over here. I will grab it for those of you catching the video here. I have a huge quartz or sphere of rainbow fluorites. So this always sits on my desk while I am doing my planning. And then smoky quartz. Again, I talked about that. It's an energetic vacuum. It removes negative energy from the environment. So, and it's grounding. So often when I go out into a group of people, especially when my kids are in competitions and there's lots of heightened emotions from the kids and other parents and family members in the crowd, I will put smoky quartz on. I'll either wear earrings or I have a necklace or a bracelet or all of the above to try and protect my energy in crowds. So smoky quartz is without a doubt one of my top recommendations. So I think that pretty much covers the basics around working with crystals, remembering that it's all about bringing you back to your intention and what you're trying to call in to your personal environment and the environment of your home, your space, your office, whatever it might be. And just remembering that you can't screw this up and your intuition is going to lead you in the right direction before you even realize that you're heading in that direction. And then just relax. Allow yourself to play, allow yourself to not take this too seriously, allow it to support you in a really fluid way that feels juicy and feels good. If you have any questions on Spotify, there is a Q&A box where you can actually interact with this episode. If you're catching this on Apple Podcasts, then head over to my social media or the blog post for this particular episode on my website and drop me your comments so I know, or your questions, so that I know what to address in part 2 next season coming out this fall. All right. Thank you so much for joining me here today, allowing me to share my years of nerdy crystal knowledge that I have packed into my brain. I love talking about this stuff on my social media. Right now, I'm focusing heavily on my Reiki and breathwork practice, but I still have the crystal business. It's not going anywhere because I love them too much and I enjoy connecting you with your favorite crystals more than just about anything else. Not quite as much as working one-on-one with my clients, but this is just another way that I serve my clients one-on-one, is connecting them with the right crystals. So drop me your questions and I will see you next week for the last episode of season 1 of From Root to Crown with Rebe.